Bonefoot stood at his crystal ball watching Ulterion, the man he sent to get his components, walk with his little Pangosian friend. Pangosian meat was the last component he needed for his great project.
That's it, boy. Take care of it, Diddy, and what?
Bonefoot was a powerful wizard who used his powers to sow chaos. He'd loved doing so as far back as he could remember, which wasn't long, but we'll discuss that later. His current project would cause trouble on a global scale. It had before.
You're so close.
Bonefoot watched his collector isolate the Pangosian child.
I'm sorry, little one.
Bonefoot smiled as the Pangosian child stared up at Ulterion curiously.
Sorry for what?
Bonefoot smiled with a malicious delight as Ulterion produced a crude knife from behind his back.
Yes.
Suddenly,
Oh!
Ulterion lost his balance and fell into the snow. And as he fell, his bracelet was buried, blocking Bonefoot's sight.
What the?
Are you alright?
Yes, but you won't be.
What?
Bonefoot heard the slice of flesh, and the Pangosian child screamed. A big smile crossed Bonefoot's lips.
Yes, Diddy, and what?
Bonefoot exploded into laughter.
Yes.
The orb became clear with Ulterion's somber face on it.
It's done.
Good, my boy. Good. Now put it in the bracelet, Diddy, and what?
Ulterion shook his head.
No.
Bonefoot was taken aback.
What's that, boy?
I said no.
Bonefoot sneered.
I don't think you want to do that, Diddy, and what?
I can't trust that you'll lift the curse if I give this to you.
Bonefoot smirked.
Well played, boy. Well played.
I want to travel to where you are, and I will give it to you in person.
Bonefoot shrugged.
All right, boy. All right.
Ulterion sneered.
When can I expect transport?
Bonefoot scratched his chin as he thought.
Give me a few days to think about it, Diddy, and what?
Ulterion looked shocked.
Wait, what?
Bonefoot wandered into the library of his castle. He needed to learn more about his past, specifically his past. Though he was technically human, he had been alive for centuries, but he couldn't remember a few of those centuries.
Now where's my next journal, Diddy, and what?
He didn't even always have his accent. Bonefoot went to a shelf marked journals. He ran his fingers along the spines.
Let's see, Diddy, and what?
His fingers stopped on a book with the title The Flapjack War. Bonefoot opened the book and started reading. It was 1,000 years ago. A baby was born by the name of... Bonefoot thought for a moment.
What the hell was my name, Diddy, and what?
Bonefoot shrugged and went back to reading. Anyway, baby Bonefoot was brought into the world. As Bonefoot grew, so did his penchant for mischief. When Bonefoot was 8 years of age, he let out the local oxen in his farming village. When Bonefoot was 10 years of age, he let some dogs into a hen house. When Bonefoot was 12 years of age, he caused 3 tavern brawls in a day. As Bonefoot grew into adulthood, he began to dabble in the dark arts. He wandered the land, making mischief in his wake. Using his dark powers, he created a castle in a hidden swamp, Scroonscraig. He raised an army of the dead, and he continued mischief throughout the world. Then came the day he got his namesake. Bonefoot thought it would be fun to
No. Ah!
Bonefoot wouldn't let the loss of a leg slow him down. He merely animated a skeleton leg and continued to run amok, well, limp amok. Bonefoot's greatest prank, which would send the world of parody into turmoil, he would learn the recipe for the flapjacks of immortality. Bonefoot had found the recipe for the flapjacks of immortality. This dish was the start of the last two flapjack wars that sent the world into chaos. The flapjacks did exactly what their name implied. Those that consumed this treat would be granted the gift of immortality. As soon as Bonefoot learned how to make them, he was the first to sample it. When many of the lucky few got to eat the flapjacks, but most didn't expect how big the flapjacks were. There were 3 times the size of a regular flapjack. And they were the worst things that anyone had ever tasted. Luckily for Bonefoot, he was born without a sense of taste, and he liked eating just for the sensation. So it wasn't much of a challenge for him.
Yeah.
All the nations of the world wanted the flapjacks, so war broke out. Bonefoot's involvement was discovered, and so a wizard by the name of Palador gathered several warriors and set out to fight Bonefoot. The warriors fought Bonefoot's undead and hired forces, while Palador battled Bonefoot. Palador was not doing well in the battle due to Bonefoot's immortal nature. Palador fired a lightning bolt at his opponent. The bolt blew a hole in Bonefoot's chest. Palador stood in a defensive position, out of breath.
Had enough.
Palador's heart sank as Bonefoot started laughing, and the hole in Bonefoot's chest started stitching itself closed.
I haven't even broken a sweat here, damn what.
Bonefoot waved his hands, blasting Palador with an invisible wave, knocking the good wizard to the floor. Palador tried to pick himself up off the floor. Palador looked up to find Bonefoot standing over him.
And the last words, dear damn what?
Palador scrambled to think of what to do. Then he thought of his most vicious spell.
Just one.
Palador pointed a hand at Bonefoot.
Imbecilia!
Bonefoot gave Palador a confused look.
Huh?
A wave of blue energy shot from Palador's hand and struck Bonefoot in the head.
Oof.
Bonefoot felt the energy wipe his mind until he was reduced to a mindless sack of skin and bones. The warriors outside continued to fight and eventually won the day.
We've won!
Normally, those struck with the imbecilia spell would be mindless beings for the rest of their days, but Bonefoot was immortal. He had time. The centuries passed, and Bonefoot wandered through his castle, eventually relearning how to be a powerful wizard again, although he adopted his weird accent from nowhere. Bonefoot spent another century or two to find all the ingredients, until he ran into the Fool. conman had stolen and sold all Bonefoot's components. Bonefoot had found the thief in his tent on the outskirts of town and was going to dispatch the rogue by crushing him with a gravity spell, and was fine with dragging out the fool's death until the thief shouted.
I'll replace everything!
Bonefoot thought about ignoring the thief's pleas, but thought about how much fun he could have. Bonefoot smiled. So Bonefoot watched Ulterion's journey.
There's poison ivy, dear damn wood.
No.
And was entertained by watching the fool struggle. And on occasion, Bonefoot would make it interesting.
I'll think about not animating the weapons, dear damn wood.
What?
But it was soon coming to an end.
Oh well.
Once Bonefoot got the rest of his ingredients, there would be untold fun for the future.